That's why I didn't do a video on Monday. I went on Discord radio to talk to the members uh, around 9 a.m. yesterday. But now we got some stuff to talk about. You guys got questions? So let's go ahead and get started. First, with futures, Dow futures are up 140 points. The Nasdaq's up 50. S&P is up 0.18%. The Russell continuing its climb up 1%, nearly 22.28 on E-mini Russell. 10-year Treasury yields pulling back. Powell spoke yesterday saying that the 2% target, even if it's not reached, if they waited to get cuts done until then, would be just too late. So the writing's on the wall. September cuts are pretty much baked in. We talked about that weeks ago, pre-CPI. And September cuts, November cuts is what we're looking at. Now, the question remains, the big surprise or the big wild card would be, do we get July cuts? Do we get a July 25 basis point cut to see how we get? FOMC is at the end of the month. Or do we stand pat for July and then September we get the cut? And how much of a cut is it? Is it going to be 50 basis points or 25? That really depends. The bond market should give us a little bit of a hint on where that will be leaning towards, as bond investors are going to look to lock in their current yields for the time being based on maturity versus the lowering of interest rates by the Federal Reserve. Dollar index is up 0.26% at 104.46. The VIX is at 1314, up 0.15%. Crude oil is down 1.82%, $80.39 a barrel. $2.44 for gasoline futures, down 1.73%. Gold futures up 0.36%, 24.37. Silver is down, copper's down. Bitcoin a little bit higher today, marginally. Dollar yen up 69 pips, 158.79. Too much intervention by the Bank of Japan to really trade that well. You gotta be scalping it basically. So difficult. US dollar, Aussie dollar down about 38 pips, 0.57%, and the euro dollar kind of holding up, 108.79, down about 14 pips. Let's talk about yesterday's action. Yesterday we had Palantir calls. We took that yesterday. We had a rejection of around 29.30. Mizo, I'm going to mispronounce that. Mizo did actually lower the stock in terms of cutting the rating. They cut it to sell, sees a 20% decline on Palantir. So that's hurting Palantir this morning. It's down about 50 cents pre-market. Again, we already took that as our option signal. Excuse me. Here it is, Palantir, 35%. Getting near the 11 a.m. hour, go ahead and take it, leave a runner, enjoy. And we got as high as 38%, and then it flipped. So good exit on Palantir. Well done. IWM, we got it yesterday as well. And we also got Mara. Mara was very nice. So Palantir, again, pulling back a little bit. Let's see if we retest 27.56. We'll see if this downgrade by Mizzou is going to really hurt the stock. Maybe we get a retest of this breakout of around 27.50. I'll place an alert there. But as of right now, no calls, no puts on it until really we start seeing some kind of move we can trade. Mara, we talked about this wedge breakout. Let me go and show you guys here. Talked about Bitcoin. This was back in July 7th. Bitcoin, we talked about seasonality being weak for crypto in July to September, and so far Bitcoin has followed it. Sure, Mount Gox and the added supply hurt the price, but it is a finite asset, unlike the US dollar. This is the note from the 7th of July. With that being said, I'm keeping an eye on that trend line right where 57K is holding. You can see it right here. That was the trend line I showed. Problem with trading it here is, what vehicle could we use? BITO, not much volume. Coin, too pricey. Mara, maybe. If Mara can get above 21, I want to target 23 on Bitcoin. So that's what I wrote on the 7th. And here it is. Lovely breakout above 23. So the price was a little different than what I wanted. But again, that wedge breakout was beautiful. 25 was the target. Here it is on Mara, now trading at 24.42. Pretty much down pre-market. But if we look at BITC on the future side, that trend line held. Very, very nice. But now we're at the 50. So be careful of any kind of resistance. If you hold any kind of Bitcoin longs or any kind of proxy in terms of options, just be careful. This might reject. I don't like the fact that the dollar's a little higher. I'm so glad that we got Mara yesterday. I'm so glad we got Palantir yesterday. I'm so glad that we got IWM yesterday. And IWM, I believe, still has more room to go. 219.60 is my next money target, I would say. But if we go to RTY, you can see that break of the wedge here on the weekly. So let's see if we can recapture 2240, which is about 10 more points. And if we do, we can keep an eye on IWM for additional upside. All right. IWM right near 220, actually. Wow. There you go. We're about a couple of points off. But again, all I have is a runner on that. 225 on IWM would be right after 219. So if we can settle above 220, maybe on the day, it gives us an opportunity to maybe do the 222, 223s, 225s with more time, maybe August, September. Small caps are going to benefit from lower interest rates since they're more likely to borrow. I do have Robinhood calls, and finally these came to life. And again, we had the wedge here, the triangle or wedge, whatever you want to call it, and then the breakout. We're above we hit the resistance here, or we broke above 2430. We're in the money now. I had the 24 calls, so that's a good sign. We'll probably get that today, and that'll be really, really nice to see. That Robinhood was over here, mind you, just Friday, and then Thursday we had that hit. But again, stuck with the analysis. Again, keeping everyone up to date in terms of Hood. Throughout the morning, this is the watch list and charts. I'm always giving everyone the heads up on what I'm looking at. Let me see if I can find that Hood trade. Here we go. Let's see. Hood. So many charts. There we go. Pennant, triangle, whatever you want to call it. It's a breakout. You can see 23 and a quarter. That's where we got in 3,300 vol to 24. Let's take advantage. This was on the 9th of July. So use the watches and charts, guys, if you are in the signals group, as kind of like your trading journal and trading play-by-play, because that's going to give you all the information as what's going on through the day. All right. I know I spoke a lot. Let's go ahead and get to your questions. Good morning, evening for me. Good evening. Good morning, Carlos. Can you talk about Tesla? Sure. Tesla's still that 260 level. That's when we're kind of watching. See that possible double top kind of scares me. We're up $3 this morning. So 280 could be your target, or 280 could be the break point. It's really up to you. I think I'm going to wait for 280 to break. Then you have the gap fill at 289. You could do the 300 calls then. But until then, this is what scares me. Possible resistance here right at 260. That's what I fear. So if we did not fill that gap at 231 yet, so the question remains, if we do not recapture 260, a closing of 260 on the daily, we may get some additional weakness on Tesla. For right now, I'd rather be neutral, meaning I don't want to trade it at this moment, unless we break above 280. Then we would ride the momentum. But if you look on the hourly chart, possible inverse head and shoulders on Tesla, 280 might be in. Again, rather expensive. Just a heads up. Morning. High and low expectations on Hood calls. Yes. Well, we are already in the money, so that's a good sign. So what we need to do is really kind of look at this level here, the previous wick high, which is what, 24.29. If you can break 24.29, fingers crossed, and we're holding calls, we're going to go higher, possibly to 25. If we zoom this out a little bit more, look in the daily, 2 years, nothing. If you go on the weekly, where's the next resistance really? I mean, I have 25 as my next target, but really the next one would probably be 28. This is back from November 29th of 2022. So again, right around here is possible upside, but at least on the weekly, we're above any major moving averages. So we need to get right here. Again, wedge breakout. We do have a gap to fill, which is scary, obviously, but at least we're holding up the strike price. So we can do it like IWM. A lot of people traded IWM and probably closed at full position 100% because we used the strike price as our stop. So that really made the difference for everybody. I got some DMs from everybody saying thank you regarding the IWM movement, that they really enjoyed that they preferred it. Granted, we can't do that for every single trade because not every trade is in the money. Mara, for example, Palantir, for example, yesterday, we could still make money. Doesn't have to be in the money, meaning the price is above the strike price that we have, whether in calls or puts. So with that being said, 24.29, 24.30, that's the highs. We need to crack that. If we crack that, then 25 is next. We'll use 24, the strike price, as our stop. So we'll see if we can squeeze as much as we can out of this trade. Let's see Snap. Snap, I have here on the 4-hour inverse head and shoulders. 15 would be your support. 1755 is the next target for the break. CLS, I've never heard of that one. Celestic, I've never heard of it, but it looks bullish on the 4-hour. Yeah, it looks like it's going to just break out. I really don't have any other target on that, just based on what we have. But in front of us, 62.35 is the break point. But I've never heard of this name. Palantir call for 2025, depending on the strike. I don't know what strike you have. So if you're looking at, for example, I assume this gap here at 31.32 depends on what date of 2025, January 1 or December 31. So really depends. Caterpillar is a name that I was watching as well. It was part of the watch list. It did break. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart because it includes aftermarket or pre-market. Downward wedge, breaking higher. We are going to go higher on Caterpillar. I like this for a rotation. The problem I have, not enough volume. The spread is very wide. So I'm going to keep an eye on Caterpillar next. I love it to 360. 350 will break. I like 360 as a next target. 370 might be a little too high, but 360 is going to be my money target. And hopefully we can buy some time on it. But I like Caterpillar here for that break. Take a look at it. Again, upward, break down, break up. Disney calls. Disney calls has been Disney trade in general has been just choppy the last couple of days. I'm waiting for a break of 96.11, guys. If we can get that, there is a gap to fill. Actually, the target is 92.80. We're still below the 200-day. Hell, we're about to be in a death cross, the 50-day below the 200, the 20 days below the 200. I think you stay bearish on Disney. 92.80 to around 91.60 would be my target for shorts. The problem is not enough volume, and it's killing me. That's the problem I have with Disney and Caterpillar and these names is, yes, we can buy options all day, but we need to find a way that's in demand. And we want to make sure the spread is tight, meaning the difference between the bid and the ask. Thoughts on SMCI? Oh, Investment Club has been really upset on this one. And I understand because it's been an absolute chop show on SMCI. But a break of 1,000 would confirm SMCI. Let's see what they get in the next earnings. They are part of the new QQQ now. Taken away, removed was Walgreens Boots Alliance, WBA. Now it's SMCI. Should be only a good thing. SMCI ain't going anywhere. Above 1,000, you pretty much got that breakout, similar to that wedge that we have on, what was the other stock that we talked about that had that wedge? Caterpillar. There you go. Well, no, Caterpillar has an actual channel, not a wedge. Excuse me. What was the one with the downside wedge that I remember? Was it Apple? Yes, Apple. Downside wedge, and Apple's been an absolute on fire. Does anyone remember when we were trading Apple back around, what was the price? 170? Lord help me. Apple on fire. In my opinion, Apple's expensive. They better show us something in the earnings because all of this is just expansion of multiples. That ain't going to cut it when it's negative sales growth. So Apple got to show us something the next earning. Very, very important. Thoughts on the meta dip? Let's see it. Meta. Well, it hasn't filled this gap yet at 479.15. I have an alert at 488.26. It's about $2 this morning, so really nothing yet until Meta. But again, I have my alert placed. We do have a big gap to fill at 401. Cross your fingers. Let's see if we get there. Would you buy Tesla shares here for the long term? No, I would not. I think you will get a better discount if we can get this gap to fill here at 212. Around 200 is fine, but here at 252, you can get a better discount. We're setting up for at least some kind of a pullback. End of July, seasonality stops in terms of bullishness. August is kind of choppy. So again, if you're someone that wants to take a time off from trading, end of July into August, kids are back to school. We know what it is. Back to work sort of thing, back to the old non-summer routine. So again, don't expect tons of volume. If you're someone that says, hey, I love Gar Capital, but I think August is going to be kind of chop. No worries. We're here for you every day, regardless, but take your time. There's no need to trade every day. My point being is set your expectations toward the end of July and the beginning of August and kind of the full month of August. It's just chop. That's really it. Kind of no direction, kind of the end of the summer blues sort of thing. But we'll be here watching, of course. Maybe lower your position sizes if you are someone that's planning to trade in August. That's fair. But again, just want to set everyone's expectations. August isn't always the best. It doesn't mean it's bearish. It just means it's really crappy environment. Yeah, untradeable sometimes. AMD ARM puts. Let's see AMD. AMD is still holding on to my alert. We're very close. 187.65. If that can break, I want to go long to 205. I don't want to buy 205 calls or maybe the 200 calls, but I do like it for more upside on AMD. I know it doesn't look great right now, but AMD does look like it has a little more juice. In my opinion, if we can get above 187.65. ARM, anything that stands out? Yeah, I guess if you get below 170, Ryan, that's kind of what I'm looking at, but not much going on. Amazon, I have calls. God, I know. Rearranged the actual trend lines because obviously we have new data, and you could see we're bouncing off this trend line as of right now, up about $3. Not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, we got a chance. I mean, we need a lot. It is Amazon Prime Day, so maybe we'll get some good news. We did have retail sales that came in and beat expectations, so that's always good news. So again, we had better retail sales. We have a negative CPI. Inflation's getting better. Lowering inflation and demand is still strong. Bank of America beat earnings. United Health beat earnings. Morgan Stanley beat earnings. Charles Schwab. PNC missed. So out of those guys, it's really just PNC Financial that missed. So some good stuff and reiteration of the bull market thesis that we have. It is a bull market, not really much of a thesis. So Amazon, let's see if we break 196.50. I'm not gonna wish for the moon. I have the 210 calls for God's sake for Friday. So we would need to break 200 like yesterday for that to move. But we will see. Last week on AMD, if anyone remembers, didn't look that great until we had that big boost on that tech upgrade, on the upgrade from the bank for AMD. So all it takes is one headline, guys. Just a fact. Thoughts on JPM? JPM is a great company. The problem is it's near all-time highs. I mean, what's the target that you're looking for? I put an alert here at 197.57. If that retests, then that would probably be the level I'm looking to go long again. But when it comes to all-time highs, you really just can't do anything. Yeah, let's look at SHOP. All right, SHOP does have a gap to fill, mind you. So let's go to the 4-hour chart and see if we can do a little something with this. Nothing. All right. How about we draw some lines? That's always fun. So it depends on really how you look at it. So if you want to just do this, extend to the right, we're still not there yet. 67. I need 69. What is it? 68.80. If that breaks, I'll target the 75 calls. That is the shaded area here. That is your gap fill. So that's where we are pretty much currently. And we have a nice upside move now. The question remains, does it break out? 68.80. That is the alert that we need. Right at the 200-day moving average. Just not quite there yet. And if we were trying to draw a couple more lines, just really depends on how you want to see it. If you counteract this, this is going to bounce. Downward wedge, breakout, gap fill. It's a great setup, but I need 68.80. Let's see NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA, we need the moon. Let's see it. Yeah, 132.08 is needed ASAP. Still not too far away from all-time highs, but that's where we are. 140.76. Again, one headline away. Let's see what we get. All right. So it looks like I answered all the questions, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to go and check in with my team here on the live market blog and on Discord. Have a great rest of your morning. I will see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.